Hey everybody, it's Ron Henry's HowTos. I'm going to show you how to make Indian lamb Shami Kebab. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is place a third of a cup of chana dal into a small bowl. And we're going to top this up with some water. Now just add a bit extra because it will soak a lot of that up. Now we want to leave this aside for about 45 minutes. So we're going to start off with one brown onion, obviously peeled, and what we want to do with this is just finely dice it. So just into a pot on a medium heat, we're going to start by adding in our onions, along with 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now we just want to very lightly saute this until it's nice and golden brown. Now we're just going to add in 3 crushed garlic cloves, 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger, what we're going to do now is add in 500 grams of lamb mince. Now we'll start seasoning this with 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of ground chilli, 1 teaspoon of ground cardamom, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, and finally 1 teaspoon of ground coriander. Now give that all a good mix. So all we want to do is keep on cooking this until our meat's nice and brown. To this we'll add 1 cup of cold water. Mix that through. Now I'm also just going to add in 2 bay leaves. Now put the lid on and we want to cook this for about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright, so we're at the 15-minute mark now. As you can see, all our liquid has absorbed. So what I'm going to do now is turn the heat off. We'll also discard our bay leaves. Alright guys, so I've just put it all into my food processor. And what we're going to do is add in about 2 tablespoons of chopped coriander to this. Now lid on and just on a high speed. Alright, so basically you want to process it till we have a fine mince-like mixture like that. So what we need to do now is let this cool down before we move on, or else it's just going to be hard to work with now. Alright, so once you've let this cool down, and it should be cool enough where you can just touch, what we're going to do is just crack 1 egg in. Just mix that in. Now this is going to help bind this all together. So next I'm going to start by adding in 3 tablespoons of chickpea flour. Now you can just use plain flour if you like, or even corn flour, but chickpea flour has a better flavour to it. And of course we'll be keeping this gluten free as well. So just carefully mix that through. Alright, so you should end up with a nice thick mixture like this. And you should be able to easily form patties in your hand like that. Now if you find that it's still way too sticky or too liquidy, just add a bit more flour in. Alright guys, so what we're going to do now is make small patties with these. So just grab about half a handful of our mixture, just in our hands, roll it into a ball, and you just want to flatten it down like that, keeping it about 1 centimeter thick. And we'll place this straight onto a tray, or in my case some baking paper. Now you can make these any size you like. Alright, and there we have it. So let's move on to our stove now and start cooking these. Alright guys, so just into a large frying pan, I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of ghee. Now you can just use oil for this, or of course you can use butter. But the beauty of ghee is it has a high burning point, so it's not going to burn quickly. Alright, and just on a medium heat, we're just going to add these straight in. Now all we need to do is fry these for a couple of minutes on each side. Just remember they are already cooked, so all we're doing is just browning them lightly. So after about 2 minutes, we'll start by very carefully flipping these over. And that's what we want, a nice golden brown colour. Now you do need to be careful when you flip them, just so they don't fall apart. Alright, and we'll just cook for another 2 minutes on this side, then we're ready to serve. And after another 2 minutes, we can go ahead and serve these. So we'll turn the heat off. Alright, and there we have it. We'll just top it up with some freshly chopped coriander. And that's all there is to it. Ready to be served on its own, or with some chutney on the side, however you like it. I hope you like that guys, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook, Snapchat and Instagram. If you've got any comments or suggestions, just leave them at the bottom and I'll see you all next time.